Outlaw TV 88, who's a great 5%er. He's a real guy. I'd bet anything on it. He doesn't seem like he's compromised in any way. And he's under 1,000 subs, which is great. I can trust him, you know. Now, I always say 50K, walk away. But these days, it's like shit. I've seen guys with like 3,000 or 4,000 that I don't really trust. You know, you don't really know when it comes to the glowies and controlled opposition. The thing is, they don't know either. So I think their game seems to be to just flood the market with characters and just create the entire narrative in whatever kind of genre they are in. It's not just in this genre. Anywhere where they feel they want to have control over the narrative, you know, I often use the as an example, the genre culture creators, like those dudes that talk about like movies and comic books and stuff, like the Nerdrotics and those people. Those guys are all controlled. You know, they're all in some way or another. I mean, whether they're directly controlled or by some kind of partnership program. They're all their own people. In the case of that situation, I mean, they knew that things were going to be, there's going to be some pushback from people with what they wanted to do, which is the CIA always having Hollywood as its entertainment wing. They were going to kind of shift to a bit more propaganda, which is what we've seen. They knew there was going to be some outrage, so you know they need to control it. And the way they do that is they have their own guys out there who get all the attention. And if you're not hooked in with those guys, you don't get seen. It's always so transparent too. Like whenever there's a new guy, will show up on the scene, like, oh, it's fucking whoever, Mr. Potato Head. And you're like, oh, Mr. Potato Head, I'm seeing him in my feed a lot. Oh, Mr. Potato Head's on one of those popular shows where there's 15 fucking different windows and they all sit there giggling. He'll show up on all their stuff and he's collaborating with everybody in that group. You just know he's like a guy, he's put there. So they have a thing where they kind of flood the fucking market. Because it's not an exact science what they're doing. It's kind of unpredictable. But they cover their own bases by just putting these guys everywhere. So of course, like our kind of corner, the schizo conspiracy. Well, I also do spirituality, magic stuff, occult things. Mainly that's what it was supposed to be, but a lot of the stuff that happens in the real world affects that world and vice versa. So it's kind of impossible to not talk about things that are happening or relate them, you know, to the unseen world. You know, it's like the unseen and the seen work in tandem together. But anyone in our little group, and it is little, you know, the 5%ers, it's so many shills here, you know, because they're scared of people talking about the kind of stuff we talk about. So Outlaw TV 88, he's been on here for a couple of years now, maybe more. I know he's on a few other platforms too, but he's like one of the best guys. He puts out crazy shit. And yeah, that's a long-winded fucking build-up to get into talking about what the point of this all is. He linked to a video that, I don't know when he did it in the past, about a story that I've covered here that's really interesting. And he was saying that particular clip is being more shadow hidden than his others. I mean, I don't know how that's determined. I don't really look at all my numbers and stuff because I don't trust that any of them are even real. So I don't really bother. The only way I even know, kinda, is because when you log in, it's such a prominent part of your creator's studio. Like, you have this, you have to give you numbers, you know. But I never really went rooting into them. I've only been to my social blade a couple times. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't know. I can't believe any numbers. I don't know what's true. And, you know, whatever. So anyway, he's probably one of the bigger guys that I know are real. So, and he gets all his stuff is, you know, throttled, of course. But if this one's throttled even more, then Jesus, nobody probably sees it, you know. And he was like pointing that out, and I don't know why they're so afraid of this story. Occasionally it pops up, and like I said, I've done stuff on it, but no one really seems to care, or maybe no one gets to see it. But what it is about really is this guy whose dad was in the military. His dad was in Vietnam. He's a commander, and they had these new night vision goggles that they were given to the soldiers, that instead of using the green spectrum, like, you know, you look through in the green, you have heat, you can see heat and stuff, it was using the red spectrum. And I think it's like, what is it? Is it neutrons and electrons, or is it neutrons and protons? There's a different kind of element that's being used in these viewer goggles. And when the soldiers were wearing them, when they started wearing them in the field, they were just freaking out. They were shooting it in the sky at nothing, because when they put the goggles on, it was like a they live situation. They could see all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And the guy's dad put them on too, just so, you know, they told him not to wear them, which is kind of a red flag. They were for the soldiers, and it's, you know, not good for whatever they told him. I don't know. He said they told him not to put them on, but he did, and he saw what was in there too. He said it's just like looking into a completely different world. It isn't a different world, though. It's the same world we're in here. What it is, it's just a different frequency. It's just like a radio station. You get a radio, you get the radio stations coming in your car, you have your car stereo, you turn it on, right? And you tune in to the EDM station, right? But even though you're tuned into that on the dial, you still have talk radio, you still have classic rock radio, you still the dance channel. They're all there. They're all sitting right there in the same space, just on a different frequency. And when you tap into one, even though you're just hearing that one, the others are still right there. So it's kind of how that works. There's other worlds in the same space we occupy, just on a different frequency. So it was seeing dimensionally into the area where demons are. And they were in helicopters. They were like helicopter soldiers, like whatever's flying around, guys gunning at things. Satan owns the air. Man's supposed to own the land. God owns the heavens. So it's all biblical. It all goes back to biblical shit. So yeah, they were seeing demons in the air, like in their natural state. Like here, you can't see demons. Like when we interact with them, you don't see them because they're incorporeal here. You just see the people, you know. But when you look into their realm, you can see them, you know. And that's what was happening. He thought his guys were on drugs or something, because at the time there was a lot of heroin problems in Vietnam. But no, they were putting those goggles on and seeing like winged, like demons. He was like, it looked like you were looking into like a gothic horror world. He said there was one sitting above the trees, and they were shooting at it. It was just kind of hovering above the trees. And when you looked at it without the goggles, there wasn't even any movement. There wasn't even any trace of it, anything being there, because you're looking into a different dimension, for all intents and purposes, using a word. It's tricky. I like to use the frequency, because dimension, it can mean a lot of different things, depending on what you're doing, if you're using physics or geometry. And then the idea of something being able to be in a dimension, take up space in that dimension, is confusing. But I would argue no one's taking up space, because there is actually no matter. That's a whole you know, he'll try to steer out of that fucking whole quagmire. But at any rate, they were seeing these fucking things. Now, the element that allows you to see this was discovered or synthesized, and I think it was the 1500s. Now, once you're talking about things like the 1500s, you might as well say the zeros or the one. You know, it doesn't even matter at that point. It's like $6 trillion zillion dollars. We have no idea. But it was a long time ago, and alchemists synthesized this this element that what he's trying to do is make something that he could see across distances, like a Palantir from Lord of the Rings. And people used to do cool shit like that. Some of us still do, just, you know, not that cool. But so in doing that, he thought it was working. However he was doing it, I would imagine he was looking into like a pool or something. Like he'd pour it like it was a liquid. I don't know, it's just how I imagine it. I don't know what form it was in. And you would see the reflection of this world. He thought it was the same world, just somewhere else. But he was seeing a different dimensional space. So, people will go right for me. Then it kind of vanished or was hidden. And the next time you see something about it in history, although, you know, history, in air quotes, is the early 20th century. A guy synthesized it to be used in glasses. He was the first guy that figured out how to make lenses with this stuff. And I don't know what happened with him. This is really can't get a lot of information on it. It's kind of just all I know. If someone else knows the story and has any more details, you know, let me know. But then it kind of disappeared again until it showed up with the U.S. government in Vietnam. Now, I would imagine, you know, I'm going to go a step beyond, you know, into a deeper rabbit hole. I'm sure they knew. They had to have known what they were putting in these goggles. They had to have known. They were doing a lot of weird stuff with soldiers, though, like using psychedelic drugs on them, you know, like a Jacob's Ladder scenario to try to get them to, I don't know, be more savage or something. It's not even for the war. They were just experimenting with people just to experiment with them for maybe something they would use down the line. Because it wasn't like, oh, they were trying to weaponize people for the war. They didn't give a shit about the war. They already knew what was going to happen there. These things are all planned out. It's about destroying infrastructure, destabilizing areas, blood sacrifice. That's wars aren't what you'd always imagine they were, what I imagine they were. So as they were giving them those crazy psychedelic kind of drugs that freaked them out, maybe this was in the same vein of experimentation of that, just to see what the results would be. Because they did tell the guy's dad not to wear them. I don't know what the conversation behind that was, or why, or how they said, hey, these are for the men, but don't you put them on. And he didn't really elaborate on that. So we're left to, you know. And I don't know if there's more than this one interview with this guy. He may have done multiple interviews, but as far as I know, the stories and the videos and stuff that I've seen of it have been sourced from this one interview with this guy. Just not, like I said, there's not a lot of information about this. And I'd be very appreciative if anybody had any that could pull up my way. But yeah, the basic gist of this whole thing is just like I always talk about. There are entities around you all the time. They're probably all over the street. I know they're down here. They go where people are. The great Roger from KC which I talk about every time I talk about the subject. He, on his YouTube page, is still there. I don't know what he's up to, though. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but hope he's all right. But he has a lot of videos showing photography of areas, and there's some Google Maps type aerial view stuff too, where by messing with the photo levels, you can see that there's beings all around. Whatever they do, like turn up the gain or whatever the hell it is. I don't even know what I'm talking about. The sharpness, the contrast. I don't know. He does something where you can see it. Like it isn't like something he's doing. It comes out of the picture. You just see all these bodies, these people, these things. A lot of them really tall too. Like they're big, like size of buildings. There was one that was really freaky that was in LA near the Hollywood sign that looked like a giant baby. Like it looked like a blown up giant infant. It was fucking creepy. But yeah, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, these things are around you at all times, every day, all night, trying to get in, waiting for your vibrational frequency to drop low enough through, fear, depression, anger, sadness, drug abuse, alcohol, any way they can get in so they can get in that body. They want in that body really bad. Where they are is a place of endless thirst. It's very uncomfortable. So they're really always trying to get in the bodies. And they're just waiting for you to slip up so they can borrow yours. And I've had it happen. We've all probably had it happen. You get blackout drunk. The next day, you're like, what the fuck did I do? Well, that's what that is, They jump in there and take the wheel. It's why it's called spirits, So yeah, I'm gonna, I'll link the, I think I already did link the video in my community tab post, so I'll put it at the bottom of this for you to check out. It's a really wild story, and TV's great too, so go over there and support my man. I gotta go in and now support Longs. I swear, I fucking probably do pay a bill for like a broom closet in this fucking place. Spend so much money in here. Till next time, thanks for dropping by. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.